Did you ever feel older than everyone else, even when you were still a child? Did responsibility find you before safety ever did? Your title, The Psychology of People Who Grew Up Too Fast, targets a silent group of adults who were forced into maturity long before they were ready. And the thumbnail text, Adult as a Child, delivers an instant emotional shock because it captures a lived experience in just 4 words. It triggers recognition, not curiosity alone. For many viewers, it mirrors the moment they realized they were managing emotions, households, or expectations that were never meant to be theirs. This combination works because it speaks to a hidden wound in adult mental health, the loss of childhood without closure. It promises understanding, not judgment. And that promise is what keeps the viewer watching, searching for answers they were never given growing up. Did you ever feel like you were expected to understand things no child should have to understand? Did you learn responsibility before you learned how to feel safe? Did adults rely on you emotionally while you were still figuring out who you were? Did you grow up hearing, "You're so mature for your age," without realizing that maturity was survival, not a gift? For many people, childhood wasn't a time of innocence. It was a time of pressure, silence, and early responsibility. They learned to manage emotions, problems, or expectations far too soon. They became the calm one, the helper, the fixer, because someone had to be. And now, as adults, they carry a quiet question inside. Why do I exhaust it even when nothing is wrong? The answer begins here, in a childhood where growing up fast wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. When a child is forced to grow up early, their brain adapts in ways that last into adulthood. Safety is replaced by responsibility. Play is replaced by problem solving. Emotions are pushed aside to make room for survival. They learn to stay alert, mature, and controlled, because being careless was never an option. Their nervous system becomes trained to anticipate problems before they happen. They become hyper-aware of other people's moods, needs, and reactions. Not because they're naturally anxious, but because staying aware once kept them safe. Over time, this creates an adult who feels calm on the outside, but constantly on the inside. Rest feels unfamiliar. Relaxation feels undeserved. And silence often fills with responsibility instead of peace. What looks like emotional strength is often a mind that never learned how to slow down. Because when you grow up too fast, your brain doesn't learn how to be a child, it learns how to survive. Adults who grew up too fast often carry emotional patterns they don't consciously choose. They struggle to ask for help, even when they desperately need it. Independence became their identity long before it became a skill. They feel uncomfortable relying on others because they learned early that support was unreliable. They suppress their own needs to stay functional, productive, and composed. Vulnerability feels risky, not natural. They may appear emotionally strong, but inside, they're constantly managing invisible pressure. They feel responsible for other people's emotions, even when it isn't their role. Guilt shows up when they rest. Anxiety shows up when things are calm. They overthink decisions because mistakes once had real consequences. And even in healthy relationships, they may feel like the adult in the room all the time. What looks like maturity is often unprocessed emotional weight, carried quietly, for years, without ever being acknowledged. Many adults who grew up too fast don't realize their daily behaviors are learned survival patterns. They overfunction in relationships, taking responsibility that was never theirs. They feel uneasy when things are too calm because chaos once felt normal. They plan excessively, thinking 3 steps ahead to avoid potential problems. They struggle to relax without feeling lazy, guilty, or irresponsible. They become the reliable one in every group, even when they're exhausted. They avoid conflict because tension once felt dangerous. Or they control situations tightly because unpredictability used to hurt. They feel older than their age, even in adulthood. They rarely feel taken care of, even when people try. They carry a constant sense of seriousness that never fully turns off. To others, these behaviors look like discipline, maturity, or strength. But underneath they are protective habits formed too early. Ways a child learned to stay safe in a world that asked them to grow up before they were ready. Growing up too fast didn't only create wounds, it also forged powerful strengths. People like this become exceptionally responsible and dependable. They know how to stay calm in chaos because chaos once shaped them. They develop emotional intelligence early, reading rooms and people with precision. They become natural problem solvers, capable of handling pressure others avoid. They carry a deep sense of duty and loyalty toward the people they care about. They are resilient, adaptable, and mentally tough. They value stability because they once lived without it. They mature into adults who can handle life's hardest moments with quiet strength. But these strengths came at a cost. They were earned, not gifted. And while the world benefits from their reliability, they often forget to ask a crucial question: who takes care of me? Growing up too fast leaves marks that success and strength cannot erase. Many of these adults struggle with chronic emotional exhaustion. They feel tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. They miss the phase where someone else was supposed to carry them, so now they carry everything themselves. They often feel disconnected from joy, playfulness, or spontaneity. Fun can feel unfamiliar. Rest can feel unsafe. They grieve a childhood they never consciously remember losing. There is often anger beneath the surface, not explosive, but quiet and unresolved. They may feel emotionally older than their peers, yet secretly behind in self-care. Intimacy can feel confusing because they learn to be strong, not supported. And deep down, many of them feel unseen, praised for their maturity, but never comforted for the weight they carried. This is the cost of being the strong one too early, a life where resilience came before nurture. If you grew up too fast, this is what you need to hear. Your maturity was never a personality trait. It was a survival response. You didn't skip childhood because you wanted to be strong. You did it because someone had to. And now, as an adult, you are allowed to unlearn that constant readiness. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to need support without feeling weak. Healing doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means finally becoming the child you never had time to be. You don't need to prove your strength anymore. You've already survived what should have protected you, and the moment you realize that is the moment you stop living like a child who had to grow up and start living like an adult who finally gets to choose peace.